As stated in the in the ornament of clear realizations, that until samsaric existence is no more, until then there is the uninterrupted activities of the Buddha.
Oh yeah, that chile judy kind of jugo re chanina. That kasang was shuana shin chele. Kasore, umusu, ane tishisha jayu kawa ingen tedala, sanje jayu kawa in the longudan, ane sugu, jugu, choku jugula so number 10. Ane teda ke sun jenden ke chitula 10. Ane rangi nyamsulane, ane rangi jila, gewa, nachi. 마 개와네 순디더니 가소래 사람부터 받은 마신도 개와도 다 순진의 진도들한테 좋아체.
So how are these activities of the Buddhas engaged? How does it engage sentient beings? Is in relation to those who have the karmic fortune to directly see the Buddha. Then there are the form Rupakaya manifestations, the enjoyment body, those who are able to see that directly, and supreme emanation bodies and birth emanations, for those sentiments who have that kind of fortune, and due to that kind of direct encounter, then being cared for by the teachings, by the holy speech of the Buddhas, then in their care, then showing the path, giving the teachings, and in this way, then whatever virtue is generated, even a single virtue that which is generated within us, making that possible, as well as the progress along the grounds and paths, to being able to generate all of these realizations of the grounds and paths respectively. So all these, from one single virtue generated in us to generating the realizations of the grounds and paths, are all the engagement of the, is due to the engagement of the activities of the Buddha.
Oh yeah, that. Maranzo, ane sanje umusu jayu kawa menga dinzola, ane sanje gu mwene, ane maranzo, ane kasore tile juye sanje gu mwene jujen changma choyo, changyo wa redi, dan maranzo mwene sanje umusu jayu kawa meba, jayu jujen masan yu topji. Da dinzola tile kande ji juwa chiro, tile kande ji jugu re, sena, da kansa xian ji la. 산제 코랑 무슨 말이 심비 가사 현진나 봤다니 아니 가사 현지 그 탐하고 주도 나 봤다니 아니 텐다위 타마와 대기 타마주 남바 땜바 대기 아니 주 충분해 손디 랑도지면나 시지 말로바 땡니 땜발라 때는 아니 랑그 줄에 주 충분해 손디 아니 계심 제바 랑게 아니 가소래 땜바나시 냥술 내니 아니 랑그 줄라 주 충분해 수를 남지를 받다 줄라 예외디 강라 아니 산재가 틀려 주바 두 시작을 아니야.
So for those of us who do not have the karmic fortune to sort of directly perceive the Buddha, for us, then how is the activities of the Buddha, possible for us? How do the Buddha's activities engage sentient beings like us, who do not have that fortune to directly perceive the Buddha? On the side of the Buddhas, then they are complete in all the causes and conditions to engage us. But from our side, then we lack the fortune, we lack the karmic causes and conditions to be engaged by to be directly engaged by the Buddha's activities. For such individuals like us, then how does the Buddha engage their activities for the likes of us? And that is through manifesting in very ordinary aspects, just like ourselves. A person no different from ourselves in these very ordinary aspects, then they teach us the path, beginning with the path and practices of the small scopes, teaching us what to practice, what to abandon, and on the basis of such unmistaken, showing of the path, then generating within our mind, the roots of virtue, and by our, undertaking the graduated stages of the practices of the small, of the small scope, then that is how the activities of the Buddhas engages sentient beings like us.
어떤지 인자다 라나 틀렌 주 산재의 틀렌 주바지 안에 가사신 안에 개회 신년을 때는 주거와 인장 개회 신년을 마담바 산재의 틀렌 온수 주바게 가와 매와 인자 다 신년을 때는 주거와 인장 아니 초지사자 밴드다이 이미 요새 라우사야 메시 매바 매매중시 대신 산재 틀렌야 라마 매바 매매중잖니 도승와이 말이. 저 님이 요새 잡도 차와들이 아니 메시 매바라 매발라 아니 비실라 매매바와. 베티신도 아니 산재기 칠라양 라마 매발라 아니 산재기 칠라야 마람도 잡다고 아니 타마와라 아니 산재기 칠라 좀 줘봐. 도승와이 말이.
So for the likes of us for the likes of us ordinary sentient beings who do not have that karmic fortune to directly perceive the Buddha, then it is through the Buddha manifesting as ordinary sentient beings like ourselves in the form of virtuous friends. Then that is how they engage us in their activities. So therefore, for us to be the recipient of Buddha's activities, for the Buddhas to be able to engage us with their activities at our level, then it is only via a spiritual teacher in relation to our spiritual teachers that they can engage us in their activities, just like how the great Sakya Pandita states, saying that no matter how hot the rays of the sun is, it is only through the employing of a magnifying glass that you can cause those rays of the suns to cause a fire, to burn something, to burn burn the grass or something like that. So in the same way, for us as ordinary sentient beings to become the recipient of the Buddha's activities, for the Buddha activities to engage us as ordinary sentient beings, then that is possible only in relationship to the Guru.
가지 라마 다와는 저기장 바르지 듭제 타고바나 치주 담에 땡제지 메시 담에 땡제지 피신등도 배바이지 시가나 어때 소나신세리 니마당 안에 가서 신기등도 바르지 듭제 타고바나 아니 메시기 니미외테 메시라 포네 메시 텔라 땡네 아니 피신 시바나신세니 다 대배라잖니 아니 산제기 칠레 대양 아니 주제 답이가나 아니 그비 신이라 때네 아니 랑거 칠레 랑거 줄라 아니 산제기 칠레 주바 두송이 말이.
So, likewise, the Kagyu master Dhamma Rinchen states saying that it is only through removing the obstacle of the obscurations that we can be the recipient. Ordinary sentient beings then can be the recipient of the Buddha's activities, just like in order for those twigs, twigs to catch on fire, then you need to have the magnifying glass. That magnifies the rays of the sun, so that those twigs are able to catch that fire, is able to burn. In the same way, then for us to be able to be engaged by the Buddha's activities, for our obscurations to be purified by these Buddha activities, then like the magnifying glass, then one needs to rely upon a virtuous friend.
Subject to Lama Sanja Tamji, Chileji, Chebabu, Yimba, Sayadi, Junza Delatua.
So it is for this reason that in the section on Guru devotion, relying upon the Guru, it is stated that the Guru is the one who embodies all the activities of the Buddhas.
Oh yeah, in that Sanjay Chile. Lama la tenen zukowa yinzang ta tela samlo tangde jana nguen chenbi sanje da changsen namji ene kasore kasang khani shiwa na shin chene tangbo tuje ba semjen tendu tuje phado ga chen chame su de cho sa ba yang semjen tendu cha cho sa ta sanje ge chanjong de lanan ba yang da ba zobe sanje yi kongbang 온도 제바야 semjen tendu 온도 제바 인상 다 semjen 그 된 전이 제그리 더 된 장간데 다 가르래서나 다 가소래 신이제 된 토토도 봐봐 인상 아니 그산 제한 매람지 원준지 산제 차심지 다다지 되게 된산 봐 켈렌자 멤버 삼시나 전대일라면 토도 좀 전에 오순에 되는 말이 라
Kasanjayangi.
Kasanjayangi.
Karisumres Yanja.
원준지 산제 창심지 다다지 되게 된제바스 켈렌자 멤버스 다 chanjudu semjewa yang
Kellenza member
samshena samlo dongshena ta de sure sana tandang lama todo som
for the activities of the Buddhas to engage us, how the Buddha activities can engage us, the sentient beings, is only through depending upon the Guru. So, and that's why all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the past, when they first generated bodhicitta, they generated for the sake of sentient beings, and when they went through 3 countless eons of accumulation of merit, also that was for the benefit of sentient beings. And eventually, when they attained the perfect and complete state of enlightenment, also they accomplished that goal for the benefit of sentient beings. So, having undertaken all of these, having having undertaken all of these only for the benefit of sentient beings, then what do they do now is to fulfill the benefit of the sentient beings. Because of having undertaken all of these actions only for the benefit of sentient beings, then what they have to do is only to benefit sentient beings, and to comprehend how do they do that is through understanding that their activities are accomplished in dependence upon the Guru, in reliance upon the Guru. That it is the Guru. In the role of the Guru, that all of the Buddha activities are accomplished. And so that is how it is to be understood, just like how it is stated within the prayer of Kelsang Jamyang. Within that, he is saying that if we are to understand all of the prayers of the past Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, their prayers to benefit sentient beings, then and to not to and to not to understand those prayers only as some sort of a pledge or commitment, to understand it in the context of an actual real action. The only way to understand those prayers is through understanding that those activities of the Buddhas are embodied in the Guru.
Oh yeah, that tend to be tile de la, ani tile. Let me hindu to juba that tile juma chava juba. That is a ma chenchani.
So those activities of the Buddhas are spontaneous and uninterrupted.
That didn't tell you to do that.
So having completed the explanations on those two, the spontaneous and uninterrupted activities, then the third is the manner in which they engage us, the manner in which we receive those activities. So then you have the example of the activities of the holy body as illustrated by the Indras, using the example of Indra, and the activities of the holy speech then illustrated by the celestial drums. So we were at this point yesterday.
So
there are 3 points by which this illustration is presented, that the speech of the Buddha being likened to that of the celestial drums. We did that yesterday, but we will do again. In talking about this, the speech of the Buddhas, which care for sentient beings, through imparting the teachings, then is presented by the first point of how the speech of the Buddha then benefits sentient beings. That's the first point. And second point is the extraordinary features of the speech of the Buddha. And the third point is that the fact that some sentient beings are not able to be the recipient of that speech of the Buddha is not the fault of is not a failing or fault of the speech of the Buddha, but a failing or a shortcoming on the part of those disciples who are unable to access that speech.
Then that kind of reason, any Dujana Pa may be Nella, Dodi, any Pa you be Nella, Pa you can Nella, Joyadella, any Doshan, Doden Jesenigan, Doi, Doden Gajibetella,
So the first point, presenting the benefit of the speech, then how that speech, kind of extracts sentient beings from states of careless lack of conscientious living to extracting them from that and placing them in a very sort of mindful, conscientious form of life.
So
the example to illustrate this point is the verse on just as amongst the gods, verse 31, by the force of their previous virtue, without effort, without a special place, without form, without consciousness, and without any constructive thought, the drum of the doctrine. So, generally speaking, in the desire realm, you have 6 realms. Within the desire realm, there are six realms of the devas. 6 realms of the devas. The 4 types of Indra kings, the realm of the 33, the realm without dispute, tabjelche.
사다 하면 받는데 탑에 타바단 차와
탑재기
탑자 투가 가서 야제듯이 숨지자송 탑자 간대 투가 현주왕지
you know the tulga and tulga tulga de kan just yabre tulga de
다 주주 때마다 들리려 자요. 투가 다 현주왕지 저 명의를 권한
so there's tulga means like the devil realm of miracles, or and then Shentul Wanchi. Those are the 6 types of devil realms that are associated with the desire realm.
다 되게 나니 숨지 자송게 하이 나나 아니 사람 중 문제 내지 까빌레스나 되빌레레 추비 아니 사인 아오치 아니 가서래 남바제베 가상기 야생기 반항기 야생기 남바제베 가상기 반항라 아니 누데 응아데 응아텔라 균롱기 배바다 다추마기 균롱 매바 균롱기 배바 매바 다추마기 아니 체겐라 소와다 나오냐발라 소브라 아니 균롱기 도바 매바 아니 이든보이 균롱기 도바 균롱 나오냐바티비 균롱 도바세리 이당세 균롱 도바당 이든보라 소비 소당 다타바냐 원이베 나바 도바 메신도 아니 되게 최지 dom시 뒤제 탐제 미다바다 사제 탐제 동아와다 최도제 담에바다 양아는 대와 아니 시와기 아니 다타그 아레스 다 되게 최지 dom시 된거 같다 그 뒤제 탐가 미잠발라서와기 아니 다와가다지 찾아시기 된거 아레스.
So in the realm of the 33, then due to the previous virtuous karma, then arising from that is the celestial drum that is like hoisted mid-space by itself in front of the celestial palace of the realm of the 33, and that has these unique characteristics of without any kind of intention making that kind of sound, and that that does not have any kind of sort of concept of thinking that I am a drum or I am this or like that, or that I'm going to make this kind of sound. Without any of these kind of sort of thought constructions, then this drum resonating out the sound of the Dharma, the Dharma of the 4 Buddhist seals, that everything composite is impermanent, that everything contaminated is suffering, and that all phenomena are by nature empty and therefore selfless, and nirvana is peace. So the main thing about this drum is that having these features of being without effort, being without the constructive thought of being that I'm round in shape, or that I'm going to make this sound like that, without having these kind of concepts.
아니 무슨 밤에라 정경기 아니 사람 탐제 양도 취진 아티기 아니 다와가 다시 찾아시 때마다 때네 아니 코알라 이주네 진짜지 테네 코알라 이주네 아니 타버티니 이거제와라 아니 구워쳐봐 배야체.
And so due to this sound of the Dharma sound of the drum resonating out again and again with these 4 Buddhist with these 4 distinctive Buddhist viewpoints, that everything that everything composite is impermanent and so forth. In this, by this sound, Dharma sound of the 4 Buddhist seals resonating out over and over again, then it kind of influences the devas to no longer engage in the sensual pleasures, to kind of turn their back on the essential pleasures, and to apply their body, speech, and mind in sort of mindful, conscientious life, allowing for them to generate the renunciation and the intention and intention to attain liberation. So, like these examples, in a similar way, then the all-pervading Buddha, then without the exertion of the motivation, then allows for all. The holy speech of that Buddha pervades all sentient beings, allowing for them to engage in the attainment of higher rebirth as devas and human beings, and on the path of liberation and enlightenment. As in a similar way, being all-pervading and free from effort and the like, the Buddha comprises all living beings by his word and shows his doctrine to the worthy. So the Buddha on his part, without any kind of effort, then teaches the Dharma to to all those sentient beings who have that karmic fortune, exhorting them to the attainment of higher rebirth and liberation, by teaching the path to peace.
That do chaba ji better than the chaba Java Shaba de la the Tata. Oh, Chidasana Sanam Ji said it. Chidasain Amna Sanam Ji, Mother Rangi Givilla Chua Tipada Shatati, teaching them to a show, said it. Chidasain and Sanamji, Mother Rangi Moji Givilla Chua Tishido, Jidabanana, to be Chesubayan, Jidamba, Rango Moji Givilla Chua.
So then the next stanza, verse 34, then talks specifies the distinctive causes that bring forth the particular result, like the celestial drum that makes the sound of the Dharma in the realm of the gods. Then it comes from it comes due to the particular virtuous karma of the gods that they have such a drum resonating out the sound of Dharma. In the same way, for the Buddha to be teaching the Dharma in our world, in this world, it comes from the the accumulation of the particular virtuous karma of those sentient beings. So that's talking about the distinction of the causes that bring forth these results. As amidst the gods, the sound of their drum arises as a result of their own virtuous deeds. In a like way, in this world, the doctrine of the Lord is though preached by him as a result of the virtuous deeds of the living beings. So saying that 아니 지대마 호랑 쪽이 온지 내라다네 아니 투비체 아니 냠바지 총아레스 인단데 유차바디 담바레 유차바디. So illustrating the distinction of the special causes that generate these kind of results, like in the Deva realm, for these Devas to always to be able to hear the sound of this Dharma, for them, these Devas in the realm of Tantra, for them to be able to hear this sound of the celestial drum, resonating out these teachings on the four Buddhist seals, these four distinct Buddhist viewpoints, is the special karma, special virtuous karma of these devas to have that experience of continuously hearing the four Buddha, the teachings on the four Buddhist views or four Buddhist seals from the celestial drum. It is their special, particular virtuous karma that allows for that. In the same way, in our world, those sentient beings who have the opportunity to hear the Dharma teachings of the Buddha is the special virtuous karma of those sentient beings to have the Buddha teaching the Dharma.
Oh yeah, that is. Bene Luna Semdravi, Dradishita Shidutar, said the Devi Chaba Dangu said it. Why Devi Chaba? Aresana, Ani Gulongi Babatang, Tajishwana, Gulongi Babatang, Dachumi, Nedang, Udumbula Sovaki, Ludang, Ani Dachaba Chawo, Yambala Sovaki, Semda Chawa, Inza, Bene Luda Semdravi.
So, and then the next stanza shows the speciality of the result, the distinction of the result, like this drum, which does not have the motivation no exertion of motivation, no thought to make a particular sound, no thought of particular shape to be of a particular shape, is without any such intentions as such. This is like the speciality of the result, the distinction of the result. So devoid of effort, place, form, and constructive thought. The motivation to make the sound, and to place meaning that I'm going to make this kind of sound, and form meaning like for the drum to be of a particular shape, this round shape, and or having any sort of intention for to make that I'm going to make this kind of sound, like so devoid of these kind of features is the speciality of the result.
어디 라지 시다 동아시와 시줍다 스페라 차니 대시도 자주 대시단 자세리 아니 그런 게 배바당 자중이 내당 아니 이 류라서 입라서 그 류당 아니 다 잡아냐고 자기 셈 그런 게 삼당 어 자주 대시단 자위 아니 상제기 송디 시원양을 내봐 두시질을 좀 쳐봐래 제대라 대신 배서 당자위 최대 시원 좀 받치 나와
So just like this example, just like this example of this drum having no exertion of of motivation, having being devoid of devoid of the thought, devoid of place, meaning like the sound, devoid of the shape, meaning to be of the particular shape of a drum, and without that kind of intention that I'm going to make this particular sound. Like this example, then in the same manner, devoid of these four features, then the activities of the Buddha's speech engages sentient beings on the path of peace to liberation. So that's the next stanza. Similarly, the doctrine devoid of these four properties conveys the realization of nirvana.
다니 안조 대단데 도된 주지 샤바다 예세 주지 샤야데라 아니 지달하이 총나 마지 주디 미직 짐바니 니모 유도 주비 주제 함이 공자 점어세와다 세티데 예체 자와디.
So then the root verse 36 is now the expanded explanation of the above verse. In the city of the gods, the sound of their drum, beating uninterruptedly, arouses their fearlessness, and at the time of their starting to battle with the passionate asuras, vanquishes these and keeps off distraction.
Oh yeah, that's it. 아니 나자티기 총아 아니 하나나 아니 미치바 시간 지발을 껴바기 미치바 잡지 짐바 니 아니 니모바다 차도 그냥 랑데 다사다 하면이 탑이나 그러나 차도 그냥 랑데 사마인다 탑이 유도 주바니 주제 아니 사마인지 뽕는 자와의 체신 아니 차배 그냥 라미 파메비 怎么 세와 치신도 뽕는 자와의 체와다 아니 되는 차별 그냥 라데 파 고선 파메라 로데 怎么라 소와 체와데 세와 대신도.
So in the city of the Devas, when there is the sound of the Dharma, when there is the sound of this drum, it invokes a state of fearlessness. Takes away the fear in their battle, in their battle with the asuras or demigods that arises out of afflictions and jealousy, and thereby allows for them to gain victory in that fight with the asuras. in the same way, then the sound of the Dharma is what allows for the vanquishing of the attachment, and places our body, speech, and mind in conscientious, mindful or conscientious form of, kind of kind of removes our body, speech, and mind from the play of attachment and lack of conscientious living, and removing our body, speech, and mind from such states to a more mindful and conscientious form of life.
Oh, that digi tunda tela. Tishi jiden tana samde sume la su ju chungwa samje nyumon dunga rab ju shiwa lame lam su je sede te pete tuande te mata.
So the next part of verse 36 is the meaning of the illustration. In a similar way, in this world, the word of the Buddha speaks of the path for overcoming the passions and the sufferings of a living being, which path is conditioned by profound meditation and the mystic absorption in the immaterial sphere.
Na digi tunda kare se ore esena jigden thana samden sume jubi che jambi gyu se kana ta nyo ma sabe na cheba ne ka pom ni ba ani deja la sowa debi deja la sowa unji wa theta ki nyemi thone unji wa tam pom de yela sabe na pom mutu ba ki sabe pom ya ki niwa mengen ki zo la ani kare re esena samden da sume se kana unjuwa ponjeki nyembo ane samdengi nyeto dang mushi dang ane sumeki nyeto dang mushi la sowa ane rubi che dambala tene ane wasore debe nyemon unjuwa seki nambata sowa yichungwa debe nyemon dang sowa dunga unjuwa seki nambata tene 수당 수기 니모 원주가 시키는 바. 다 대천이가 대천가라 탈 아니 가르라서나 아니가 니모바 탐제 자와냐 빵바 제바기 아니 타바당 탐제 줘봐 제비 탐제 제번 줘봐 제비 최 땜비 아니 섬제 남지 니모다 동아 째네라도 좀씩 아니 타바당 타바라 거바당 ane shiwa minewe nyandela kwebi ta sun jendeng chiru tedi tagri sungan bare tandi rwa.
So in this stanza what it is speaking about is that for those individuals in the world who are in the face of not being able to abandon afflictions and the seeds of these afflictions, but not being able to abandon it at that level, but having an aversion towards suffering, feelings of suffering, and manifest forms of manifest forms of these afflictions, like manifest forms of desire and attachment, having aversion towards that. Then for such individuals who are averse to feelings of suffering and manifest forms of afflictions, but not able to abandon the seeds, afflictions with its seed, for those individuals, then what is taught is the benefits of attaining the meditative states of absorption of the form and the formless realms, which is a new, more closer form of attainment actualizing the close attainment of these states, and then eventually, giving the teachings that will enable the complete uprooting of these afflictions by the means of the path that enable them to liberation, enlightenment, and so in that way, then giving those types of teachings that allow for those attainments.
Samdendang Sudang Sume Dubi Chetan Basa, Samdendang Sume Kandachi Kiki Yanayang, Kankoma, Samdela Kiti Kanayang, Samdengi Jawadin Druba Chingan de la. And you can't resana, Pensic le, Manazo Milkidikana, Milkia Pensic Giveletang, Sakuraba. What ten I see, Samden to give us the kind of Samdengi Jawa Pensic le de la, Jawadela, Samden to Jawa Jaki. Debi Nimon, the bag Nimon Tendaki, Nimbo Chingangi, Anis Casore, Samdengi, Gavasiwari, Gavalasi, Erdo, said the Joa. What did Pensic check?
So, in order to attain rebirth in the meditative states of the form realm and the formless realms, then you need to accumulate the particular types of karmas that will propel a rebirth in these form and formless realms. Just as in order to be reborn in the human realm, then you need to accumulate the particular kind of karmas that propels us into a human rebirth. So the particular type of karma that propels a rebirth in the meditative states of absorption of the form and the formless realms requires a concentration and that wishes to abandon the afflictions of the desire realm, which means the manifest afflictions of the desire realm, the concentration, the meditative states of concentration that seeks to abandon these afflictions of the desire realm. So this is called near attainment, near top. This is called this activity, seeking to abandon the afflictions of the desire realm. This particular concentration is known as the near attainment concentration, which is the particular karma propelling a rebirth in the form and the formless realms.
Seba da lemba yu de cha che chi ba che seba di le de la ta de ba gi ni mo unju wa rishi pambi ani unju wa rishi pamba gi namro lang ge che samde ju mo shi se ge jo de gi ani jo tu chi chi ga ri.
So what actually establishes that birth in the form and formless realm is the 10th link of existence, of the 12 links, the 10th link of existence. The 8th and the 9th link of craving and grasping, they are afflictions. But on the 10th link, there is this kind of worldly liberated path, which is the 10th link in which, there is some kind of abandonment of the afflictions of the desire realm. So that liberated path of this worldly liberated path is what accomplishes that birth. So this is what is meant by the suppression of the feelings of suffering and the suppression of the the afflictions of the desire realm.
Ani ni mo ngunju wa pande kala sa khoma so ki jewa de len ko de san da tambo ni wa sumba shiwa la shiwi ni mo ba ni nanga taye ge ni mo ba ni namshe taye ni mo ba ni jiame we ni mo ba wa de si ze jie du si jie de ta si ze gi ni mo ba wa de
So as one is able to abandon this manifest form of these afflictions of desire realm, then one attains the first level of this four levels of the form realm, the first level of meditative absorption. And then when you abandon, the manifest when those manifest afflictions of those desire realm of the first level, then you progress into the second, and then just according to the level of according to the level of the abandonment of the affliction of desire, and then accordingly you progress from one to the next level of meditative absorption. Then after you progress to the fourth level of the meditative state of absorption, then when you abandon that level's afflictions of that level's affliction of afflictions, when that is abandoned, then you progress to the formless realm, and then again you make that gradual progression in accordance with whatever afflictions abandoned, manifest form of afflictions abandoned. Then you progress from limitless space, limitless consciousness, and nothingness. And then when one reaches the highest point of the formless realm, which is the peak of samsara, the affliction associated with the peak of samsara cannot be abandoned in relation by a worldly path. To abandon the affliction associated with the peak of samsara, then one has to employ a supramundane path for that.
Jiang Padu China ya, Sisi Padu Lena Yang, Ani Temenjaki Nima Unju Ganga Pana Inayang, Sabe Mabamba Yinzang, Ani Dingi Chepa Nyamdi Zamba, Java Kasuri, Chepa Nyam, Sabe Mabamba Yinzang, Laya Lanya go on Devaluma, Devana Masuma, Suma, Chisi Sabe Mabam Padu, Devala Suma Yinzang, Suma, Devana Malanya, Javalani, Nyawala Sunya.
So therefore, as one abandons the afflictions of these different levels of the form and formless realms by engaging in a concentration known as actualizing the near attainment. So through that, one abandons these manifest form of afflictions, and one does so with a concentration which has both calm abiding and an insight. And so through that one as one progresses gradually up to the peak of samsara, because what one has abandoned is only the manifest forms of these afflictions, and because one has not abandoned in any way any of the seeds of these afflictions, so what happens is that whenever those activities of those concentration decline, then those afflictions arise again. And so therefore then you have again being reborn back into the desire realm, in being reborn back into the hell realm and so forth, because the seeds of these afflictions have not been abandoned, because up to the peak of samsara, what one has abandoned is only the gross manifest forms of these afflictions.
Sudan Sumel Hai Ne Tojang, Doche Dunga Chela Matroba, Munji Ding Pampa Sabane, Chia Wadun Hunan, Jumal Goro, Chani, Tatu Suan.
So
Sudan Sumeki Hai Ne Tombot in the Tona Yang. Ani Chawan Duche Dunga, Lanyak Shawang Janji Pumbote, Dunga Tela Matroba, Choa Dunga Tam, Unju Gona Batamato, Duche Dunga Chela Matroves. Tang Munji, anything lady Shilasundeki Tingi Zinji, Lesabak, Lady Nami, Devude, Sabatisana, then it out Lion Water, Sune, Nason to Tungatang, that Lakale Setamana, Ma Water Sune, I need Dungan Yongo water, Yan to Seres.
So that is why Lama Tsongkhapa states saying that, even if one gets reborn in the highest abodes of the devas, in the form and formless realms, because one has not abandoned suffering, the suffering of pervasive conditioning, the suffering brought on by affliction and karma. So what happens is that when the karma sustaining those life, the concentration of the calm abiding and the insight which sustains those life, when that karmic sustenance of such a concentration of calm abidance and insight, when it is finished, then once again, then one is reborn back into the suffering, gross suffering realms of the low realms. So depending on whatever karma gets to be ripened, then if it's a hell realm or so forth, then one is reborn back. Despite the fact that one got reborn into these very high states of deva realms, but because of not having overcome the suffering of pervasive conditioning due to karma and afflictions, then again falling back into these suffering realms of existence.
Oh, then new Momba Sabina Pandi Tamba, and in new Momba the person Sabina Java Pambegi, Ponjaki Chetembe, and in Yambo Pachamelam, then a new Momba Sabina Java Pambe, Tabatum Tabuare, Tabatamda.
So,
I need to castle new Mombaki Pajatan Java Ponegi, I need Chetemba, I need Tamjamba. Oh, she was Minari and I Devaki. I love Jebuk. Chetemba, and she was Minari and I Deva. I need Tabajuba Yazang, Duzatedala, Tabatopjeki Lamdang. She was young element of them, and soon be Jabachavare.
So, when one abandons afflictions and its seed, by relying on those teachings that teach on the antidote of the uninterrupted path, then as a result of that, one attains liberation. And when one abandons afflictions and the imprints of those afflictions, then one attains the enlightenment, the peace of non-abiding nirvana is attained. In accordance with whatever the trainee disciples abandon, then accordingly they attain liberation or the peace of non-abiding nirvana.
Oh, that is better. That is all. I sing and be miru with Junzanda. I am a bitchy between them.
So the next part talks about why do we explaining the reasons as to why you would use the celestial drum of the devas as an example, as a fit example, and why not using the symbols of the devas as an example? Why a symbol is not an appropriate illustration for it, for the the speech of the Buddhas?
Oh, did that and a senior be miru with Junzanda, 상제지 숭기 아니 섬쟁기 팬데 주비 뺄라 아니 균전 가르기 아니 사이 가서 사이가 균전도 체지 아니 사이 쓰냐 미제바디 가르에서 넘버 현바 대답에 미르바 어땠을까 들어봤잖아.
So the question is, why do we use a slasher drum as an illustration for the holy speech of the Buddhas that accomplishes the well-being and happiness of the sentient beings, and why not a deva symbol?
베르바 마임바 대단한 장 사람지 응체이 개외 내지 왕기 아니 녹화나 사이 나와 이토비 대제스 중앙 지로 현나 와 베르바 마임바 대다장 사람지 응체이 문지 개외 내지 왕기 녹화나 사이 나와 줘봐 사이 나와라 이토밤 이동와 대제스 중앙 지로 현나 나디 데라 랜데라 이조비 자니 시징아자 인바 티 제수 현다 장중에서 스다디그 관지 적인 숨데 바탄데 과유 자와티 인바 삼대수 메치르바 삼전 동아치 관지 적인 판이다 팬데 치주 숨데 바 대지라이 사제 지신년 넘래 쳐봐봐 스다디 다가르샤
다 가르소레 메르 백준센
나와지체
메르 백준센데 칼라버스
최지 송게 팬데주비 백준센 지지리 네 최지 한이 왕도 체지 신년기 넘바 테레 현다장 베르바 마이 바 대다장 대남 산남지 문체의 교육 내기 왕기 또 코나라 안에 사이 나와라 이 초비 자의 제수 중화 주로 시체나 고난 티바티체
So the question is that why use a slasher drum and not why as a slasher symbol is inappropriate as it also arises out of the virtuous karma of the devas, the slasher drum, and is as delightful or captivating in sound. So with regards to that question then, the answers, verse 37, as it has regard for all living beings, administers help, grants the highest bliss, and manifests the three miraculous powers, the voice of the Lord is superior to the sound of the celestial music.
number should tell me on my tongue, did the deco do that? Number she would that number in that number she would some Java Zawa Tamboni Dina de Zawa Medukuma. Don't do a number she would attack so said.
So there are like four.
Number she would attack source. They didn't treasure said.
So there are like four causes. There are four causes that renders it, that demonstrates the, this superiority, and why, and to illustrate why it is not a sort of a similar example. Why the symbol is not a kind of a concordant sort of example for the Buddha's speech.
That is, then kanji gyugun pani ja pende chudru sum demba said kanji gyugun pani ja pende chudru sum demba.
So as giving them. As it has regard for all living beings, administers help, grants the highest bliss, and manifests the three miraculous powers. The voice of the Lord is superior to the sound. It's on page 439 for the Tibetan.
간지 지역의 판이다 편지 주로 쓰면 된바 세가 투배 양지 사제지 생에 사인하라 소와 남 내장 쳐봐도 파대 투배 양 투배 중 사제지 생에 사인하라 소라제 쳐봐도 파대.
So the melody of the Buddha's speech is far superior to that of the devas, drum and cymbals, to the music of all of this. Why is it superior? It's because because the speech of the Buddhas pervade all sentient beings. And it is a source of well-being and or benefit in terms of the present and in terms of the future. And it so and then the three miracles and it has this threefold miraculous powers. The power of the physical miracles, the power of the speech, miraculous speech teachings, and the power of the miraculous miracles of the holy mind. So for these reasons, then we can say that the melody of the Buddha's speech is far superior to that of the celestial sound of the drums and cymbals. So the next stanza is the expanded explanation. The tremendous sound of the celestial drum does not reach the ears of the inhabitants of the earth, but the drum-like voice of the Buddha reaches living beings who abide even in the lowest spheres of the world. So, the great celestial drum of 33, then is not heard by the people by the people of the world. And whereas the great drum of the sound of the Buddha's voice is heard by all beings, such as those due to the seed of samsara, meaning due to non-virtuous karma, are born in the hells. Those those who are under the ground in the life forms under the ground.
Datini dijela kasore lai senye chewa mang deme ngombar pewi tendu zhong tuji dani namji yinji jang dunga mero shiwi tendu zhu se zawa dichen.
In verse 39, in the region of the gods, the celestial music, of which there are many millions of forms, sounds only in order to kindle the flames of desire, but the unique voice of those whose essence is highest mercy sounds in order to calm the fire of suffering.
대다 가르레에서나 더비 맥페스나 대자라 소와 소위 아니 맥 페위텐도抓啦
So
대라 차바비 대바 대자 페위텐도抓啦
So all of the the millions of the music of the symbols of the devas, then what it does is further enhance desire and attachment.
아니 라이 신년 제와바 대명 뭔바 페비 텐도 줘 자 투지 단위 남지 인지장 동안 매럽시 텐도 줘 세베가나 나들이 투지 단위 안에 산재기 투지 단위 산재기 아니 산재 남지 양직장 도자 남지 안에 동아지 매럽도 동아지 매랍도 동아지 동아 차와도지 그 동아지 매랍도 시위 텐도 아니 주배 하이신야래 차바도 파바래.
Whereas the one melody of the great compassionate Buddha, that one melody of the great compassionate Buddha then pacifies the fire of the suffering of the three types, the gross suffering, suffering of change, suffering of pervasive conditioning. So amongst the gods, the sweet and pleasant sounds of their music only enhance the emotion of the mind, means agitation or distraction of the mind.
Goba sengade dejago kun chadorwa o dejago chado xianla chabi semyule inwa cheba yinzang goba pewar jibu du yinla.
So amongst the gods, the sweet and pleasant sound of their music is what enhances the agitation, the distraction of the mental excitement in relation to objects of attachment and desire. In relation to these, because in relation to these objects of desire and attachment, then what it generates within the mind is this agitation, excitement, emotion of the mind. So when a mind is distracted by an object of attachment, it is called mental agitation or mental excitement. So when a mind is distracted from its focal object, distracted away from its focal object, that is mental wandering. Mental excitement and mental agitation is included within the category of being a mental wandering. But but the other way around is again, up for discussion.
I said that. Some you go up here, some you go up here,
So that so these captivating sounds are sounds of the music of the symbols of the devas are a cause for increasing mental agitation or excitement.
안에 대신 셰바기 송니 안에 친구 시월에 셰바기 띵해진 딱 심 가서래 미발라 미사와 안에 친구와 친구 미발 미사와 야나 미비 심 미발라 내비 내자 여장 사진 알메바텔라 친구와 다시 그봐 니왜 테니가 띵해지기 견인장 중국 10월 10일 띵에 되나 샘대발 10일 삼바 꾸준히 임배 다 잡아도 파바래.
Whereas on the other hand, the compassionate voice of the Buddha, the melody of the Buddha, is what clears away, all of the undermining features of the concentration, the mental dullness, the mental agitation, the mental dullness. Meaning lacking the clarity of the focal object. You have the focus, but you don't have the clarity of the object, and the mental agitation or excitement, such as these factors that are an obstruction to that concentration, are all dispelled or removed by the melody of the Buddha's speech. On the contrary, the voice of the merciful Buddha summons one to give up the mind. Summons one to give up the mind to practice summons one to give up the mind to the practice of profound meditation.
다 네기 전두되라 전두와되라 고신이 너나 멀리 지대한 감소야 하다 산에 대위 주카인 되니 멀리 지대한 찬야바 양이라는 rab도 담바치 세디임바다.
And then the next stanza 41 is the summary. In short, that which is cause of bliss in all the regions of the world, the celestial and the earthly, is said to have its foundation in the unique voice which pervades the whole of the world without exception.
아니 지대니 말리비 지대미 감소 남소양 아니 하단 사이 띵나 내비 아니 미당 안로라 소바나 대화 중세장 예비 대주 강의 받더니 아니 주주지 아니 말리빌 지대네 차벌 나며 관에 차벌 지가 되라 아니 산제지 양니라 라서 담바줘도
So
지대지 뭐컴 말리바 남수 하당 사이 띵나 내비 미당 안로라 소바나 대화 중세 예비 대위주 강연 받더니 아니 주주지 말리비 직대나 차버나베 산제그 송다 산제그 송데 쓰고래 산이라 담바쳐도.
So what is the cause of even the smallest happiness of this world, without exception, meaning from the devas to the lower realms, from the devas to the lower realms, from deva realms to the lowest of realms. Then, what serves as the cause of even the slightest of happiness is this miraculous melody of the Buddha's speech that pervades all of this existence, and therefore to rely upon such a speech.
너나 지대 말리 베이센 that in a car in the subject, do my children on your she was soon like Raleigh soon. Oh, yeah, that subject is some Java that's Java Jimata. Some Java said Java.
So
Java
commentary.
동아다 치질로 탐제 영어를 시위 대화니 그러면 동아당 시가나 동아지 동아 주의 동아 차와도 지그 동아라서 동아당 치질로서나 따다 치질로도 심시 아니 치질 따바당 따다 오 동아당 아니 장화라서 따다 치질로도 좀 탐제 영어를 시위 대화니 상제 그 손라라 레베
It is only in dependence upon the Buddha's speech that one can pacify all types of suffering, suffering, change, and suffering, pervasive conditioning, and all forms of error, error of permanent self, suffering, impurity.
아니 대시시비 숨기 양한테 치질로 다다 치질로 봐 15태당 장대 다다도 집에 치질로 봐 15태당 동안랑 야마 제제도 땡라
So the melody of the Buddha's speech then removes us from all error of our error with regards to holding things as pure or permanent, so forth. These four forms of error, and is a definite revelation, a revelation that causes our emergence from suffering.
지지로도 내가 진짜 땡라 당내가 진짜 간제 치그래서나 태양내가 진바 제바 태양 초루심지 사보 도자 남자 아니 쳐라 되니 그 뜸바집이 쳐도 아니 꾸주루 그 쳐도 땡 꾸주루 그 쳐도 땡 발라 땡네 아니 도자 남 쳐라 되니 끼디 가라 아니 두개 집이 쳐주기 도자 그 감다 삼바 치다바 치도 셰가체 대제라 아니 중제된 그 쳐주기 아니 도지 감다 삼다 명화 신도 아니 라랑 그 감다 삼바기 아니 다 원도네 원도다 내래 타바다 탐제라 탐제 쳔바 주바라 소베 탑대바 인장 친루 숨쟁아와 진바 쳔바 임베
this definite form of revelation is undertaken by means of the turning of the wheel of Dharma through engaging in these threefold miraculous displays. First, generating within the mind of the disciples the aspiration, through miraculous physical displays, then causing aspiration in the minds of the disciples, and through the through that miraculous holy mind, then knowing the predisposition, the mind, the interests of the disciples. By knowing that, then turning the wheel of Dharma through the engagement of the Holy Speech in accordance with the interest of the disciples, for those who seek higher rebirth, then giving those teachings, and for those who seek liberation and enlightenment, then accordingly teaching such paths.
상제주 다고 주주고 체주지 상제주 꾸유리지 총주지 초지 직대기 참 멀리 봐 그거 봐 직당 투매 차봐 주주 소지된 카탐제 어느 그거 봐 직당 투마라 써봐기 차봐기 아니 주주대 때니 철라테니 그 dum바데 지하체
So the activity of the holy body of the Buddha is such that it miraculously manifests multitudes of emanations of these bodies in all of the worlds, one and many different emanations miraculously displayed around the world.
That's all. 그래서 다들 semjanamji semjanamra maliba ngosundu chembe sa taji shisadre duji kamda sambata maliba ngosundu chembe ane terdo bi semjangi joba ngosundu nawana tugi jibi chendu si niwade che.
And the second is by understanding the many different mindsets of the disciples and accordingly giving the Dharma teachings.
ane tabra ngawa jibe lala zamde ane ngondi lamdang dene tabi lam nomba chepa tambo ane kasana taba toje ke lam matoba toba chebi chidu ane nombi danga topsin kombe chebi chidu jedenji danga le iware otusi ane tun jedengi chendulo.
And then the melody and the melody of the speech, that which teaches on the path of liberation, that teaches on the path of the path to higher rebirth, and for those who have not attained such paths, then enabling the attainment of such paths. For those who have attained such paths, then enabling their continuous enhancement or development on the path. So these are the activities of the holy speech that teaches that gives such as these teachings, and in this way cares for the disciples. The third outline is that the reason why some of the sentient beings are not able to hear the speech of the Buddha is not because of any lacking of quality on the part of the Buddha's speech, but solely due to the failings and shortcomings of the sentient beings, that they are unable to hear that speech of the Buddha. So verse 42, those that are deprived of the faculty of audition cannot hear the subtle sounds, and likewise not all the sounds can reach even the ears of those who are possessed of divine superhuman audition.
Oh yeah, minnawadan trawe chida minnawadan trawe ane chamin jam minyawatang minyang sayin nawadan dembe ane kasa sayin nawadan dembe meba minjuwa tishin.
So just as those who have defects, or therefore can, just as they cannot hear the sound, cannot hear the sound, then likewise, even those who possess the celestial divine ear of the devas then are, unable as 나와다 대배 콘스쿠
나와다 대배 다들 매번 민주와 티신도
다들 매번 말했어
다들 용구 말했어 미나와다 차외 지다 미나와다 차와기 다 참이 자데 마냥야 사인 남바다 대배 아니 다들 매번 민주와 티신당
and likewise those with the celestial ear of the devas then are also not able to experience or hear that sound. But even though they are not able to hear that sound, it doesn't mean that that sound is not existent.
다차라 탐제 사이 나와야 다차라 탐제 사이 나와야 민조와 나의 남좀 봐서 나와야 나의 남도니 민조야 나마 나와 매바탕 심한 니와 매바 인지 와 다탐제 민조와디 니와 매바레스 나마게 나와라 민조와디 나와 매바 So in
the case of the first one, not being able to hear any kind of these subtle sounds is because they have the defect of hearing. But in the case of the celestial beings with the divine ear, as to why they cannot hear all the subtle and gross sounds is because even that divine ear is lacking in the capacity for hearing. In the case of first, then having the defect of having the defect or the fault, and in the second case, not having the complete potential to hear it, capacity for hearing. And then verse 43, in a similar way, the doctrine, exceedingly subtle as it is the object of transcendental knowledge, can reach only the ear of one whose mind is free from defilement.
다 로제 신도 심목이 이식의 주요 강연 받대 노자 가시기 랭게 마대 받대 아니 가서래 노자 과랑기 냐와래 마도 아산제 그 손대기 냐와 말해
So here it says that some of the Buddha's speech, because it is so subtle and so profound and so sublime, then some disciples are unable to hear it. So not being able to hear it is not due to any sort of defect on the part of Buddha's speech, but in the lack of capacity on the part of the disciples. The fact that it is not a defect on the part of the Buddhist speech is illustrated by the fact that those individuals who are without afflictions can hear this speech.
마다 당뇨 조사 민가야 강간다기냐와 코나세 세제 지바이 말이 아 산제라 최지 칠레기 두자라 마다 와당 안에 당뇨 샤바자네 매바 참마 지바레데 안에 다 semjengun에 가왕 냠바기 안에 두자 왕기 안에 칠레 무주바들이 전에 송도 왔다라 값수면하라 연장 최지 칠레 두자라 마다 당뇨 조사 민가야
Just as how it is stated in one of the praises to Buddha that that in that phrase, it says that your activities, which equally engages all sentient beings without any kind of bias or discriminations. The fact that, that I'm not the recipient of it, or the fact that some sentient beings are not a recipient of those activities, is only because of my unfortunate karma. So, Ramesh just read verse 43. In a similar way, the doctrine, exceedingly subtle as it is the object of transcendental knowledge, can reach only the ear of one whose mind is free from defilement. So the next part is just as how the speech is illustrated by the drum, then the holy mind illustrated by the cloud. So this is so this activity of the holy mind of the Buddha, then illustrated by the cloud, is presented by these 4 points. First point, because like the cloud, then the activity of the holy mind, which causes the maturation or ripening of the minds of sentient beings. And then depending on the different types of the vessels, then accordingly, having different flavors or tastes in accordance with the different types of receptacle or vessels. Utilizing the cloud as an illustration, because the way the cloud engages is regardless of help or harm, benefit or harm. Then it engages all.
Oh yeah, that tambo.
Shivati. And the fourth illustration of that cloud is that it puts out the fire of suffering. So the cloud, which likened to a cloud in the way in which it ripens sentient beings' minds, is the first. So as in summertime, the clouds the cause of an abundant harvest discharge without any effort their torrents of water upon the earth. In a like way, from the clouds of commiseration, the rain of the waters of the Lord's highest doctrine is the cause of harvest of virtue with living beings and descends without any searching thought.
Oh, that humble thing. I say, do I want? Chida tuji tinlani, can't say chida. Yajituna Ding said, Chida Yajituna, Dringy Chat Songing, Tela Dane, and a Charapabella Dane, and a lot of prisons of do to sing.
So just like in the summertime, these rain-bearing clouds, when they discharge the waters, then they ensure the abundance of the harvest. And the discharge of this rainfall is without any kind of effort.
So
like this example. Using this cloud to illustrate the point of how it ripens the mind of the disciples.
차징 배바다 대신 제롱 주민 원배지 상자진라 탐제 취자법 스텝 편이 받아도 와. 근데 땜바데 샤바 이체가 때 땜바데 샤샤. 땜바데 샤는데 제와 샤바데샤.
So
담보다를 또 땜바데 샤. 또 땜바데 샤. 다 된다 dim마진에 제와 샤바데.
So the outline follows the brief teaching, and then the later explanation is the expanded explanation.
지단 지단 개위 남주나 취지 취절 진지 배바다 티신 제론 조그 은배시 상제 진라 탐제 차바법 세데 네 탐제 차바법 세데 그봐
Rumshi just read verse 46. As amidst the living beings who venture on the path of virtue, the clouds, agitated by the wind, discharge their torrents of rain. Similarly, as the virtues of the living beings grow through the wind of commiseration, the rain of highest doctrine descends from the cloud, which is the Buddha.
가서래 차송라 되나 로도 표준 소주나 시잖니 상제기 투지 증례 아니 자외 담비 취지 차 아니 드로잉 뭐 파바기 아니 드로와기 내가 원도당 타도 내려기 로도 표준 소위 주 나마도바 메바 베베 등다 최송.
So just like these summertime rain-bearing clouds, then when they discharge their waters, then ensures for abundant harvest. In the same way, the cloud of the great compassion of the Buddhas, bears the rainfall of the holy. Discharges the rainfall of the holy Dharma, through which sentient beings are able to accomplish the immediate benefit and the ultimate benefit of liberation, enlightenment, accomplish the causes for such results. So you have the first presentation of the example and then the meaning of the example. So So in the brief explanation, you have the example and the meaning of the example, and then you have an expanded explanation. So we'll stop here for this morning. Sangye Shindo Mete Bulwargi Chogun Namda Shinla Chubarasho Guru Ratna Mandala Kamya Tayami